And so the question then, after Tegra 2, the world's first dual core, after Tegra 3, the world's first quad core, and then we double the performance of that with Tegra 4, what's next for us? What's next for us? I mean, what could we possibly do? I guess we could do 8 cores, but that seems pretty pedestrian. That seems pretty obvious. We could do 12 cores, that's more than 8. However, I think that maybe we could do better than that. What we decided to do was we decided to make Tegra K1 the world's first 192 core processor. 192 CUDA cores, all programmable by programs, all fully programmable, all massively parallel. And this is the first GPU. The reason why we decided to call it Tegra K1 is because this is the first GPU that took a vast jump from the previous generation. It's almost inappropriate to call it Tegra 5 because it's simply not linear. We decided to call it Tegra K1. We decided to call it Tegra K1 because it's based on the Kepler architecture. As many of you know, Kepler is the most successful GPU architecture that we have ever created, and it's the most important GPU architecture the industry had ever known. This architecture, because it is so energy efficient, has made it possible, and so programmable, has made it possible for us to extend the GPU from not just desktop computers to workstations, but all the way into the cloud with Grid and into supercomputers with Tesla. One singular architecture, all compatible, is now able to span computing from a few watts all the way to megawatts, from 192 cores all the way to 36 million cores running our nation's fastest supercomputer. So there you have it, Tegra K1, the world's first 192 core super chip. It's one chip with 2 versions, quad core A15, dual Denver CPUs. A15 is obviously 32 bits, Denver is 64 bits. A15 is 3-way superscalar. Denver is 7-way superscalar. It runs up to 2.5 gigahertz, and it's got a pretty healthy cache, 128 kilobytes and 64 kilobytes of I and D L1 cache. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Tegra K1. Now I want to talk about cars. I've got a few more surprises for you. Tegra K1's got a few more things up its sleeves. Don't forget the heritage of this processor. First of all, we've had a love affair with the automotive industry for 2 decades. Our engagement with the automotive industry started with design, and we eventually moved into styling as we introduced computational rendering. We then moved into simulation and engineering when we introduced GPU computing with Tesla. So now it could be used in fluid dynamics and crash simulations. And as we improve the visual quality of rendering to the point where it's nearly photorealistic, we are now able to use our technology for marketing and sales as well. You're going to see some really exciting innovations in this area, using the original data of the car design for marketing, for sales, for even point of sales. We've also, with the help and the tutoring and the mentoring of some wonderful customers, introduced us to in-car electronics. And over the last several years, we've learned so much about this field. We came into it because we felt that the car was going to become one of the richest areas where we can make a contribution with visual computing. What you see when you're driving, what you experience when you're driving, the industrial design of the car matters so much but because we also know that GPU computing was going to be used in such exciting ways that we believe that parallel computing was going to revolutionize the way that a car is built altogether. We're working in multiple areas now in the car, all the way from the beginning of styling and design, all the way into the car, from how it looks to how it drives. But let me show you a few things first. When you come to an NVIDIA conference, you always have to see beautiful graphics. And so let me just show you now what state-of-the-art, physically based computer graphics looks like. Now, what I'm standing in front of is not a photograph, it is real time. So let's, Sean, why don't we take it for a spin, and why don't you twirl it around just one time, and then, okay, so let me just explain to you what just happened. In that moment, when Sean changed the view of this car in real time, a supercomputer in Santa Clara simulated the light rays of a few billion rays, bounced all around this environment, through the glass, reflected off the glass, refracted off the glass, through other glass, bounced off the upholstery inside, comes back out, goes through the headlights, the multiple layers of crystals inside the headlights, bounces all around, and eventually enters your eyes. This light simulation, interacting with physically accurate materials. The car paint is physically modeled, and that's why you could almost feel like you could touch it. Okay? All of this stuff is simulated in a supercomputer in Santa Clara. So of course, you could imagine a retail shop being able to configure your own car and design it on a tablet and simulate it and render it exactly as it will look for your customers. Why don't we spin it around a couple more times? Look at the headlights. Now, what you're seeing in the sparkles is ultimately that pixel hasn't been resolved yet. We're still waiting to accumulate all the light rays that are bouncing all over that environment. And as you sit here and just kind of look around, you realize as you're looking around, it's resolving this image in real time. The world's first real-time interactive ray tracing engine that's physically accurate. It looks like it's sitting right in front of you. Okay, let's take a look at one more view. Now let's help me. Let's go back and configure it a bit. Okay, so what you were looking at is actually a tool and has these materials that you can select. So you like white. How about let's just pick one other. Orange? Nah, come on. Something aggressive. Something that Justin Bieber would like. Like, say, chrome. Let's make one for Justin. There you go. The world's first chrome car. Pretty fantastic. And it's physically modeled, so it looks so real. It looks just so real. Okay, good job. Thank you very much.